This video is the part 2 to the cutting and sewing tutorial of the jumpsuit that I uploaded yesterday. In case this is the first one you are coming across, please note that there is a part 1 to this video. I'll be putting the link up and also in the description box, and it's just the video right before this one on my channel. So starting from where I stopped in the part 1, after top stitching on your pleat like this, repeat the same thing to the other side, and I proceeded to doing that. This is what I have at this point. The next thing to do is to shape. So to shape, flip your half length to the wrong side. Make sure that the right side is facing the right side, and make sure that your zip allowance is standing just like it's up, just like I was saying in this video. Then you are going to be dividing the bust by 4 from the zip allowance. You mark that. After marking that, I proceeded to marking an armhole divided by 2. I marked that as well. Then you mark the waistline divided by 4 from the zip allowance. You can see how I'm doing it, and then you mark that. Before you stitch, make sure that the pleats are inside so that you don't stitch it together with the shaping. So stitch from the armhole to the hole of the half length. Now when you are done doing for one side, flip it to the other side, and from the first place that you shaped, you are going to be dividing the bust by 2, no longer 4 now, by 2. You mark that. Then you divide the armhole by 2, and then you mark that. You proceed to dividing the waistline by 2, and you mark that as well. Then you can now shape. Don't forget that the pleat has to be inside properly before you shape, so that you don't stitch it together with the shaping. So when you are done doing this, you are going to put your half length together like this from the zip side to the center front. After doing this, you measure what you have. Whatever you have, you are going to multiply it by 2. Now you are trying to cut the band, so you are going to multiply it by 2, and then the width is going to be 1.5 inch plus 1 inch allowance, half inch for attaching the band to the half length, and half inch for attaching the band to the trouser part of the jumpsuit. So I cut my band on fold of 2. Like, I want my band to be like on fold of 2, so I cut that. It's not just a single piece. Now you will notch the middle of your band, notch the middle of your half length. You can pin the middle, you can pin the 2 notches down, or just stitch it down a little, just like I did. And then from one zip side to the other zip side, you are going to be attaching your band to your half length. You can see that there's no joining on this band, just like the half length. When I was done doing that, this is what I have at this point. The next thing to do is to keep this half length aside, and then we move to the trouser part of this jumpsuit. So for the trouser part of this jumpsuit, the first place you are joining is the crotch for the front. So these are the 2 pieces for the front. You are going to join the crotch first. After joining your crotch, this is what is looking like when I was done joining mine. The next thing to do is to bring one side of the back panel, and then we are going to be shaping one side of the back panel to the front first. You're not going to join the crotch just like we joined for the front. And this jumpsuit has an inseam pocket. I have a detailed video on how to cut and sew an inseam pocket for dresses and jumpsuits like this on my channel. I'm going to be putting the link up as well, and also in the description box. So after placing right side to right side for the front and the back panel like this, because I'm sewing this jumpsuit for a child that is 9 years old, I'm going to be measuring 1 inch downward. If you are sewing for an adult, you should measure 2 inches. So the width of the pocket is going to be 5 inches because I'm sewing for somebody that is 9 years. If you are sewing for an adult, you should consider measuring 6 or 7. Then you are going to skip that 5 inches. You won't stitch that 5 inches, so you will stitch from the half length to the first 1 inch you measured. You skip the 5 inches, and then from there you stitch it straight down. This is trying to create space that the inseam pocket is going to be. So I proceeded to fixing my inseam pocket. Like I said, I have a detailed video on how to do that. In case you need to know more, I'll be putting the link up and also in the description box. So we are going to be marking the midpoint of our half length together with the band. Now I don't want to notch it because, like I said, my band is cut on fold of 2, but if yours is on fold of 1, you can just notch. In my case, I just marked it. So I'm going to be marking the shaping side on the band as well, on the 2 sides. Then The next thing is to mark where I want my pleat to be. You remember this jumpsuit has pleats on the waistline, so I want the pleat to be directly underneath the pleating. I want the pleating on the trouser part to be underneath the pleating that is coming from the shoulder line. So you're going to mark that point and bring your trouser part that is already shaped. Then you will pin the middle of the trouser part of the jumpsuit to the middle of the half length, and then from one zip side to the other you start stitching. When you get to where you marked, which is directly underneath the pleating that is coming from the shoulder, you are going to put your pleats. In my case, I did two small pleatings. You can as well do kissing pleats, maybe one big kissing pleat, but I did two small pleating on each side. I did for the front, I did for the back, I did for the front on the other side, and then I did for the back. I hope my explanation is clear. So when I was done doing that, this is what my jumpsuit is looking like at this point. Don't forget that we have still not stitched the zip side and the crouch side at the back. The next thing to do is to fix my zip. So to fix my zip, I'm going to be putting the two back panels together like this on the zip allowance side. Then I'll pick up my zip, place it on my jumpsuit. This is just so that I can mark how long I want the zip to be on the jumpsuit. So in my case, I used almost all the length of the zip. So whatever is remaining inside the crouch, after marking the length of the zip, you're going to stitch it down just like I did. You will stitch it down to the whole length of the jumpsuit, just inside the crouch, whatever is remaining. Then you can now fix your zip. So I proceeded to fixing my zip. Don't forget that we have still not stitched this part. This part is still opened. The next thing to do is to fold it down of your jumpsuit. I folded my tiny with like 1 inch. I double folded it. After folding for the two sides of the jumpsuit, the next thing to do is to start attaching the elastic on the ankle side. So to do this, I measured 1.5 inch upward. I measured it in like 2 or 3 places, and then after marking, I cut a straight piece that is like 1.5 inch wide, and the length is the whole length of that part of the jumpsuit, and then I stitched it in that direction. Then you flip it down and fold it inward a little bit, and then you stitch as well. Just make sure that it is wide enough for the tiny elastic to pass through. So repeat this same thing to the other leg of the jumpsuit, and when I was done, I passed my elastic inside this channel with the help of my safety pin. So just pass your elastic into it or through it as well, and when it comes out on the other side, stitch it down just like I'm doing to secure the elastic before you take out your safety pin. So that when I was done stitching my down, I removed my safety pin, and then I adjusted it to the wideness I want. Like you adjust it to whatever width you want, you adjust it to how firm you want it to be. So after adjusting, I secured it down with stitch, and I can now cut out the rest of the elastic, and this is what it's looking like at this point. So after now, you can now stitch from one this side to the crouch and then to the other side of the jumpsuit. But before that, you have to repeat the same thing to the other leg, which was what I did. Then when I was done with like 1 inch, I just stitched it from the down to the thigh and then to the crouch and down to the down of the jumpsuit's back. I hope what I'm saying is clear. So when I was done, I cut the belt. I made the belt 4.5 inches wide and 25 inches long. This depends on how long you want yours to be. It can be longer than 25. So when I folded the belt, after turning the belt, it became like 2 inches wide and like 25 inches long. And then I'm going to be attaching the belt on the band directly underneath the pleat that is coming from the shoulder line. So I closed one side of the belt. The other side of the belt, I folded it inside with like 1/4 inch so that it can be neat, because I'm going to be stitching it down on the band. So I stitch this in this direction. I'll flip it to the other direction when I'm done. I did to the other side as well. I did to the left and the right of the jumpsuit, and when I was done attaching the belt on the jumpsuit, this is what it's looking like. And basically we are done cutting and sewing our jumpsuit. You can use this belt to adjust it to whatever measurement you want if you feel that this jumpsuit is a little bit big on your body. And when I was done doing all these things, I said my jumpsuit came out looking like this. I know that this is beautiful. Thank you so much for watching from the beginning till this point. If this video has been helpful to you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and please, if you can, share my video and meet your soulmate. You don't know who this video might be helpful to. In case you have any questions, don't forget that the comment section is always open to welcome your questions. And if you've not subscribed, kindly do and turn on the notification bell so you're notified when next I upload new video on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.